And Shedeur, just like all those guys, he's in there early. He's getting his work done. I like everything there is about Shedeur.
He's arrogant. He's entitled. He don't do nothing for his teammates. At a team-led workout, it's clear that the Shedeur Sanders and the QB1 race down there in the Browns is the #1 story in the NFL. And I think one of the main people that has the keys to the understanding and the information to all that is head coach of the Browns, Mr. Kevin Stefanski. Now, he's got a lot on his plate for this season to try to make the Browns a competitive team, especially with that schedule that they have. But we don't even know who the quarterback is. So the great people over there at the Really Big Show, a shout out to Tony Rizzo. I mean, he's just been doing great stuff. I really feel like he's been very fair. Today, he had the man, the myth, the legend himself, Kevin Stefanski, in. So I'm going to let him yap about, the things that's going on with the quarterback battle. After that, I'm going to take you a little bit of, history, tell you how consistent Kevin Stefanski has been about talking about Shedeur. And then, of course, I'll do what I do best. So, appreciate y'all watching these videos. Cannot thank y'all enough for the support. If you like these videos, like them. If you don't, dislike it. Subscribe if you like football content. Let's hop right into it. What does Kevin Stefanski think of Shedeur's work ethic?
Shedeur is a great kid, and whether it's a following that he's earned, I mean, that's something that he's done a great job of interacting with fans. And but he is a great kid. You guys will get to know him more. He's working like crazy, just like all the guys. He's another young man. These rookies, my office is downstairs. As they got to walk by my office as they come in. They come in early, and Shedeur, just like all those guys, he's in there early. He's getting his work done. So he's working really hard. I like everything there is about Shedeur.
And then here he is, just speaking about some of the more of these videos are more about just the general quarterback battle.
Have the veterans and rookies in that room taken to each other?
It's been awesome. We got 5 guys in there that are really supporting each other. This is high. Well, maybe I hope it's high-level football when you're talking about having Joe and Kenny and Deshaun and Bill Musgrave and Tommy Reese, and we're covering a lot of ball, a lot of situational football, and Joe can tell stories about his practices back in, the day in Baltimore and give great example to these young players. And the young guys, as you can imagine, are very quiet and are soaking it all up. And then we have extra meeting time then with the rookies where it's just them in the room. But it's been a fun few weeks in that room covering a lot of ball. There's as you guys know, and with that position, there's just so much that goes into it. And for young players, I mean, it's as simple as there's some rules that are different in the college game. So there's a lot to cover. There's a lot of ground to cover with the young guys, and they get to sit in a room with some high-level players that see the game at an extremely high level. And look at Kenny's in there talking about what the Super Bowl champs just did the year before. So it's great perspective for those young players.
Really good perspective, and I'm going to talk about each of these videos. 2 more here. Here's more about the split there for the quarterback.
I tell the players, don't pay attention to where you are in line, because where you are on Tuesday, it may be different Wednesday. So, no, we don't pay close attention to that. Certainly you have to decide what order the guys are going to go out, and sometimes it may be player X, player Y, whatever it is. The big thing for us is making sure we give the guys enough reps that they need. So making sure that they have enough where both it's twofold. Both they're learning the system, they're developing, and we're evaluating them. We're finding out more about them. So that's where I said before, it's not going to be everybody gets 25% of these reps. That's not how it's going to be. We want to give everybody enough reps where we can learn more about them and prepare them to get ready to play.
That's very, very interesting. But let's go a little further here. And speaking on more about the competitive nature. My fault. Jeez.
Are they really all for competing for the potential to be the starting quarterback on September 7th
because
against Cincinnati?
The perception, coach, is that it would take a lot for a rookie to come in and beat out Joe Flacco or even Kenny, who have played in NFL games.
If you're on our roster, you're competing for a role. And the guys have heard that from me, and it's the truth. We don't have to set the roster till late August. We don't have to set a depth chart. We have to get the football team ready to play, certainly, but you're competing for a role in what you do. So I would hope every player on our team, quarterback or otherwise, is competing for a role.
Is Pickett first up?
We'll see.
Hey, and we're going to talk about each of these videos, but before we talk about that, I want to be a blanket statement over this. I understand that, hey, Kevin Stefanski is doing what head coaches do best, right? Being a diplomat, laying out his answers in a way that ensures that when he goes back to that locker room, right? And this is something that if you've been watching my channel, you know I say a lot and I preach a lot. anything that the head coach says in media and interviews and stuff like that, he's not talking to the media. So, the media members get upset. Oh, why don't you tell us this? Why don't you tell us that? Why X, Y, Z? I'm trying to poke and prod. The questions that he's answering and the things that he's saying have way more to do or way more about responding to that locker room. That's who he's talking to, because that's who's going to listen to the interview. That's who's going to get the sound bites. That's who, all those comments are going to be commented under their section. Hey, your head coach said this, they said that, right? So diplomatic as always, right? And that makes sense. But let's start from the top left of this little quadrant here. He's in the early. He's getting his work done. He's working really hard. And this is speaking about Shedeur Sanders. And again, hey, guys, I'm not going to act surprised. I'm not going to jump up and down and be like, oh, my God, look, Shedeur Sanders is working hard, because we knew that. He was working extra time with the Browns. With certain receivers, he was putting in extra time. This is not something that is new. And do I have the video? Because I think I got the video. Yeah, here it is. Shout out to actually, this is a part of another video, so I don't want to move its place, but just a little example here of Colorado had the most wide receivers drafted, leaders lead, and winners work to win. This was a player-led practice. So, hey, nothing new. You know what I'm saying? Getting extra work in has been the mode and the model, and not just getting extra work in. Look who's there playing not a press corner, a zone corner. Who is that? Is that future 5th round pick, the biggest and the baddest, the legendary Mr. He's arrogant, he's entitled, he don't do nothing for his teammates at a team-led workout, putting extra work in, not just putting extra work in, hot in them pads, playing the press corner. So when I'm not appreciate you, Kevin Stefanski, though. Again, the diplomat. Why is he saying that? He's saying that so, hey, recognize that not only is Shedeur doing that, but to his point, they're all doing that. They're all showing up early. They're all doing what needs to be done to start at the quarterback position now, which leads us to our next spot. We got 5 guys in there that are really supporting each other. And we talked about this in the Joe Flacco video, right, where you could see like the jubilation. Is that how you say it? Is that a fancy word for being excited and happy? Shedeur Sanders is really, I think, cherishing the moment, cherishing the time that he has with Joe Flacco. And I think that's dope to see just on a football, like a football fan level, right? Knowing that he's a football fan and that's a legend in the game. You say what y'all want about Flizzy, you know what I'm saying? That's a legend in the game, a Ravens legend, a Super Bowl champion. I ain't gonna not too much, but so for him to say that, Dylan Gabriel has been asked some leading questions by the media, as the Browns media is clearly revealing itself to be a little bit messy. You feel me? But Dylan Gabriel has done a good job deflecting. Shedeur Sanders has done a good job deflecting some of those things and really uplifting each other. It doesn't feel like a competition, in the most traditional sense. It feels like they're all having a good time. Shedeur smiling. People have got positive things to say about Dylan Gabriel, positive things to say about Kenny Pickett, right? And everybody loves Joe Flacco. I don't know if you can find someone that has something negative to say about Joe Flacco. And then here we go. How will Browns split the reps? Now, again, the diplomat. It's not going to be like everybody gets 25% of the reps. That's not how it's going to be. So this, I think, has to be the most telling thing about how things are going to kind of correspond. And again, we're talking about practice, right? We're talking about preseason camp. So, it really doesn't really mean that, but it could mean a multitude of things. It could just mean, hey, Kenny Pickett and Joe Flacco are vets at this point, right? Kenny Pickett, he's kind of a vet. He can count as a vet. Yeah, he can count as a vet. But Joe Flacco's a vet. He might not need as many snaps, right? Maybe that means Dylan Gabriel and Shedeur Sanders get extra snaps. Maybe that means, hey, Joe Flacco's our starter, Kenny Pickett's our starter. He's going to get more snaps. Maybe they think Dylan Gabriel needs more snaps, right? So it's diplomatic in the term of you can't get much out of it other than there's going to be a clear lean towards somebody, right? That's what you can take out of that. Somebody's going to get more reps. Now, how the media is going to end up spinning somebody getting more reps than somebody else, who knows, right? I can't really tell you that. And then finally, all 4 Browns quarterbacks actually competing for a starting job? Kevin Stefanski says if you're on the roster, you're trying to fight for a position. Absolute diplomatic way to say, and there's not really that's a nothing burger. He's just trying to get the media off his back. I don't want to talk about who's what and what's not. We haven't even put pads on at this point. So, okay, I think that's interesting. I think that's dope. And before we go any further, I do want to take y'all through a little bit of not the looking glass, but a little bit of the history. Some of the first things that Shedeur or Kevin Stefanski said about Shedeur, both at the Combine and then right when he got drafted. So here is Kevin Stefanski on the meeting with Shedeur.
Shedeur today spent time with a lot of the players over the last 48 hours. A lot of speed dating going on. But Shedeur is a very, very impressive young man, was raised the right way. Obviously is a heck of a football player. That's evident off the tape, but really impressed with the person.
You mentioned Shedeur being raised the right way. How does, and you kind of know about this too, how does having a parent that works in this business, whether that be in the team or as a player, help prepare someone for that kind of responsibility?
Yeah, I think he certainly has a great resource in his dad to understand what it takes to be a great pro. He played for Pat Shermer at Colorado, Pat being a longtime NFL coach, so he understands that as well. So, yeah, I think he's taking advantage of those people close to him.
Is there a particular challenge? Right now you're scheduled to have double-digit draft picks.
And I really appreciate. Sorry, the clip was in there. I really appreciate Kevin Stefanski. When there's so much to be said about, what Deion Sanders does, the negatives, the positives, the X, Y, Z. Right, the fact that he before even got drafted, before that even happened. Hey, look, that's a wealth of knowledge, and that's how I've always looked at it. Like I don't understand. And credit to Shedeur, that's how he's also talked about it and looked at it. Where it's like, do you want me to be upset that I have a Hall of Famer? You know what I'm saying? As a dad, do you want me to be upset that my father has put me around certain resources and given me a lot of different advantages when it comes to the way that I can operate at a football level? I don't know, right? So I just, shout out to Kevin Stefanski. I think he's doing a good job there. And then Kevin Stefanski speaking as well as Andrew Berry on Shedeur's draft number.
I think all of our guys, I think every player, when they come into the draft, knows what number they were picked or if they were unpicked, and you can use that as motivation. We don't care once they walk in the doors. Don't care, first-round pick, seventh-round pick, undrafted. Once you're here and you're on our football team, you're a part of this culture, you're a part of this family, and we're just going to keep our head down and get to work. Again, more diplomatic things, but again, it's been something very consistent, as he said right here with the "We Need to Talk." He came out and said, like, look, everybody's going to get a chance. And then again on the official call to Shedeur.
Yeah, I can hear you. Hey, I know it's been a long weekend. We're going to take you off the floor here, all right, brother?
Yes, sir. Let's do it.
Hey, listen, you got to come in, you got to work hard, you got to earn your job, earn your keep. And it doesn't matter where you're taken, it matters what you do from this point forward, all right? Talented. I spent a lot of time with you. You're a good kid. Let's get ready to go to work and prove us we're faster. All right?
Yes, sir. Thank you.
All right? I got a coach here right now.
Yo. What's up, coach?
Good to see you, man.
Yes, sir. I'm excited to see you.
Remember I told you the Lord works in mysterious ways, right?
No, for sure.
It's an opportunity. We're going to get to work together, okay, buddy?
And I don't mean to, try to make, mountains out of molehills or make something what it's not, but it's at least good to see the consistency that Kevin Stefanski has had with understanding, Shedeur Sanders, understanding what he brings. So to be met with what seems to be a very, difficult is a difficult scenario, right? Good problems to have, right? You got a journeyman quarterback in Dylan Gabriel who's been tested in a lot of different ways, has been put into a few different offensive schemes to be able to know some things. And then you got Shedeur Sanders, again, 6 offensive coordinators by Deion Sanders count, 2 different schools, 2 different levels of play, right? Joe Flizzy DeFlacco, Delaware guy, FCS guy, obviously did what he did with the Ravens, had his shine with the Browns previously. And then Kenny Pickett, I think, does need to deserve some respect. I know they call him Small Hands Pickett, the fake slider himself, but coming out of the draft, he was looked at as somebody that could potentially help change a franchise. So this is a situation, and obviously everything else is magnified times 10 with the Sanders name and everything like that. So I would say so far, got to give credit to Kevin Stefanski. I don't think he's done a bad job at this, and I think he's done an exceptional job when the media in those certain cases tried to, kind of ask those weird questions about who's starting it and what's starting it and kind of how things are set up. But yeah, man, I just, I don't know. I'm happy to see that. I'm happy that the insight was given. He didn't give much, but he gave the right amount, and it seems to be wide open. But y'all let me know down below in the comments. Do you think that Shedeur Sanders has a chance to start? Do you think that Kevin Stefanski is going to give him a real fair shake? Is he just yapping? Is he just talking? Is he just being a head coach and being diplomatic? Really appreciate y'all rocking with me. Do y'all like this new camera? I don't know. I'm still getting used to it. Like, the camera's a little different. It's a little different vibration. Comment also down below who your favorite college teams are, NFL teams are. A lot of new faces, new spaces. Make sure y'all drop that down below. Keep being great. You know you're great. You're phenomenal. All that in a bag of chips. I'm forgetting what I forgot to forget. I was supposed to say something, but I forgot. I don't know. But I'm in the video. Like it if you don't like, subscribe, all that fun stuff. You be phenomenal. We'll see you next episode.